So I have here an unusual story, a rather unusual story that is not unfamiliar as well. Jessica Krug, George Washington University professor, says she lied about being black. And so I read this article, and it's out of BBC. And this professor pretty much, this is a reminder of the Rachel Dolezal incident. If you don't remember or recall, or if you do recall that, so I'm going to read this article because I found it pretty interesting. And so here she is right here. And so she's also written some books, and she's a professor that teaches currently. So a U.S. academic uh, whose work focuses on Africa and African diaspora has said she lied about being black. Her name is Jessica Krug, an associate professor at George Washington University. And so she admitted that she was, in fact, a white Jewish woman from Kansas City. And so I have built my life on a violent anti-black lie, a blog post written under Miss Krug's name. This read this. And so university had said that it was investigating this blog post, but would not comment any further. So Miss Krug's case was which has drawn surprise and condemnation from those who know her, bears strong parallels of, I was trying to pronounce her name earlier, Rachel Dolezal. And so, which it goes into who Rachel Dolezal is, a white woman who was a white race activist who claimed to be black. And so Rachel Dolezal, or Miss Rachel Dolezal, first made headlines in 2015 when her parents had outed her as white. Originally, that who she is, that is who she is. So the former civil rights activist and African studies instructor had kept up the pretense of being African American for years, but said she identifies mostly black. And so there's some other articles that are related underneath within this article. And so, writing in a Medium post published on Thursday, Jessica Krug said that she had falsely assumed identities that I had no right to claim. So first North African blackness, and then U.S. rooted blackness, and then Caribbean rooted Bronx blackness. So these were all the things that she was claiming. So to an escalation or an escalating degree over my adult life, she says, as I have eschewed my lived experience as a white Jewish child, she wrote. She described this behavior as a very epitome of violence and thievery and appropriation of a myriad ways in which non-black people continue to use and abuse black identities and culture, adding that she had continued to the pretense even in her personal relationships as well. So she blamed her lies on her mental health issues and trauma experience in her earlier years, although she said that this was not an excuse for her actions. So her academic work, including the 2018 book Fugitive Modernities, Chiasm, and the Politics of Freedom, focuses on the politics of culture in African diaspora societies. And so, according to the media reports, Ms. Krug also used the name Jessica La Bombalera as an activist. And so in one of the videos that were posted earlier this year, she berated white New Yorkers for their failing to yield their time for black and brown indigenous New Yorkers. So George Washington University, where Ms. Krug teaches currently the courses in African, Caribbean, and diaspora history, says it's aware of Ms. Krug's Medium post, and it is looking into the situation further. So the reaction of people, well, Ms. Krug's confession has been met with astonishment, anger, and with fellow academics, students, friends making their feelings known online. And so a lot of people have chimed in on how they feel about this whole thing and in interviews as well. And so Ms. Krug's post did not give a reason for her decision to admit her deception, nor its timing. So, however, screenwriter Harry Zayed said that her admission came because she had been found out. And so Jess Krug is someone I called a friend up until this morning when she gave me a call admitting to everything written here. So she didn't do it out of benevolence, he wrote on Twitter. But Black Latino scholars had recently started to confront Ms. Krug and ask questions about her background, according to Yomaria Figueroa, an associate professor of the diaspora studies at Michigan State University. So people were starting to notice before she made this admission of who she really was, that something wasn't right. And so it says there was no witch hunt, but there was a need to draw the line, she wrote in a Twitter thread. So Krug got ahead of the story because she was caught. And so Yamiria Bonilla, professor of anthropology and Puerto Rican studies at Hunter College, wrote on Twitter that she had been fooled by Ms. Krug, but always suspected something was off with her. And so in that sense, she did gaslight us, Ms. Bonilla wrote, not only into thinking that she was a woman of color, but also into thinking we were somehow both politically and intellectually inferior. And so a student at George Washington University, 21 years of age, Aria Sekona, said that she was shocked and perplexed by the academic's admission. And so she said that she was due to start Ms. Krug's class on Latin American history on Monday. It just breaks my heart that these students came in very bright-eyed and eager to learn about Latin heritage and the history. Ms. Sekona told the Washington Post, we all placed a lot of trust in her. And so this I found to be a very unusual story. So I don't know if people probably many people have already seen this. If you haven't, well, let me see it again. If you've already seen it, but I thought it was unusual because we've been having a lot of this happening where people will just totally do things like this, claim as are fake being who they are, or who they're trying to be. Fake their identities. And so this is pretty weird story. I don't know why, somebody would want to do this and for years and even in the relationship, but she did mention that she had some mental health issues. And so at least she's willing to admit that. And so as opposed to other people, if it rings a bell, are insistent that they're black. But anyway, I'm going to leave you with this story. What do you think about this? This was really wow. Wow. But having said that, I'm going to go on to the next story, next video. I have no words for this. Thanks for listening.